Hey everybody, so I wanted to get on here and do a quick little kind of like a podcast thing and talk a little bit about warning signs in a relationship that could lead to I guess all violence or any type of violence is not correct in a relationship, but I just wanted to share some of the warning signs that I went through in my domestic violence relationship that maybe will help you guys to point out these things and recognize them to know how to get out of the relationship in the beginning stages before they actually get worse. My relationship was kind of, fairy tale-ish. I actually ended up dating someone that I known over half my life. And in the beginning, it's always like this honeymoon phase where everything's amazing, perfect. Everything just seemed to flow like perfectly. We spent pretty much as much as time as we could with each other. Sex was through the roof. We just did everything together. And I actually didn't start seeing some of the warning signs until we actually moved in with each other. And it seemed like once we got into our own environment and we were by ourselves, that things took kind of a change for the worst. So, one of the first things that I noticed was that me and him had some of the same mutual friends, and they would be my girlfriends, of course, because I just never really fond of having a lot of guy friends. But, of course, he had all the guy and girlfriends. And so he would have their numbers as we all grew up together. And I was wondering, like, hey, like, why are none of my friends getting in touch with me? Why aren't anybody wanting to hang out? And so I was just like, wait, what's going on? Well, come to find out, he was texting these mutual friends and telling them, like, hey, you know what? She's mad at you. She don't want to hang out with you no more. You should just leave her alone. And I'm just like, what? I never said anything like this. Like, I'm trying to figure out where my friends went, and come to find out, he's over here texting them, calling them, telling them I don't want to hang out with them no more. So I'm just left alone. So that was warning sign number one. Warning sign number two, there was something similar related to that situation would be he would go out, and obviously I wasn't going anywhere, and he would be like, hey, well, such and such is going to come over. They're going to sit at the house, and they just going to sit here with you while I'm gone, like as if I needed a babysitter in the house to make sure I wasn't doing something I wasn't supposed to do while he's out doing God knows whatever he wants to do freely, and I'm at home with these boundaries. And I'm like, for one, like I said, I'm not too fond of having guy friends. And for two, especially a strange person I don't even know sitting in the house with me for hours on hours while you're out partying with your friends, and I have to be watched like a child. And that was early signs of, me and my domestic violence relationship that should have had red flags right there. But I feel like if you're not a person that didn't experience that type of thing or weren't in those type of situations, you don't know what to look for. I didn't grow up in a domestic violence household. My household didn't have no drugs, no violence really. So it's just like when you experience it, you really don't know later on that these things aren't right. You may be like, oh, he's a jealous boyfriend. I mean, when you're in love and you look back at things, you might think, oh, it's cute. He's jealous. He don't want nobody around me. But then you gotta stop and think like, no, this is controlling. Like, you are in a relationship, you should still have a life as well. There should never be like a time frame in your relationship where your partner should get to do more than you should, and you should feel on edge that you're doing things that they're doing freely if you do them as if you have to ask for permission, like you're, in a relationship with a father instead of an actual significant other. Another incident I remember is breaking up with this ex over a situation that I really was not comfortable in, and him calling every single person in my house to try to get a hold of me to the point where they were feeling uncomfortable and were begging me to answer phone calls to him just so he would stop calling everybody in the house's phone. And again, in the beginning stages, I weren't seeing the warning signs like, hey man, it's something crazy. He's kind of psycho. I'm just like, oh, he must really love me. Look at him out here calling everybody, trying to blow up everybody to get to me. But really, to me, looking back, it's a control thing, and it's a big red flag. And I should have known then, like, hey, you do something I don't like, I want to end the relationship. It should just be at that. But no, I seen it as, oh, I'm in love, we're in love, he's crazy, he likes me, that crazy in love type of thing. So it was cute, but I didn't know that these small warning signs were later on in life going to lead to things that were dramatic, life-changing, to where at one point I lost 90% of everything I owned, moved states with my children, and he's now serving a prison sentence. So my goal here is just to try to get information out to women who are in these beginning stages and may think, are these red flags? Should I go? Should I stay? You need to really look at the bigger picture and ask yourself, now, in 3 or 4 years when you're out of your beginning stage, is it still going to be cute for him to keep you from friends, get upset when you break up with him because something he did wrong in your eyes, and basically control you and do other things? And like I said, this is the beginning things that were happening in my relationship. This was ongoing off and on for 7 years until I almost lost my life. So if the red flags are there, you see them, something tells you they're not right. More than likely they are not. And I suggest taking a moment to think about the situation, think about what's going on, and thinking about if it's worth staying. That's all I have for you guys tonight. It was important for me to get on here, make this make this video, talk about the signs and get the information out there, even if this reaches one person who was having thoughts about what's going on in their life and if they should move on and move forward. Then my job here has been complete. And I hope that you guys share this information with someone, even if it's not you. Maybe it's a family friend, a brother, a sister, an aunt, uncle, who needs to hear it from someone on the outside. Because sometimes your inner circle doesn't do the thing for you, because they're always automatically going to hate the person if you already hated them once. They will not forgive them even if you do. So take this information, think about it, spread this information, and if anything, you may save a life that could be lost long term just by voicing this information to them. Sharing this information and voicing your opinion and letting them know, like, hey, other people started out in this way where it was just small things and then it turned life threatening, and we don't want that happening to you. So in this, it's a part of my Stay Strong movement, and I hope everyone listens and finds guidance. There are places out there that will help you, will give you information. Don't think you're alone. I went through places that were giving us shelter, clothing, money. We had to do what we had to do. You want to prevent these things from happening, especially if you have small children. And if I would have known things would have turned out the way that they turned out today, I definitely would have listened to this and made better choices for myself and my kids and my life. So let this be a lesson that you could take and apply to your life instead of being, hard-headed like I was and had to learn myself, because some people aren't lucky and some people don't make it out. And then even if you do, there's all types of things that you may experience afterwards. So with that being said, stay strong, keep your head up, take the advice, apply it, and keep living. Stay blessed.